And to live stream the meeting.
I love the fact we have a lag on this. But for this, I need to hit that button. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Now that I believe I've got everything set up technology wise. You know, occasionally I am a little bit challenged with technology. Today, welcome to Coffee with the Mayor for October. It's Saturday, the 3rd of October, and a couple of quick announcements of what's happening today. As I put out, this is the election issue where we're going to be talking about some of the ballot issues on there and, you know, early voting and stuff like that. We're also going to mention we have a couple of council member that's, or actually a council member seat on the council. I'll get it right in a minute. It was a little bit late night with the football game last night. But we have a seat on the council that's being contested. So, you know, we have the sitting member and we have somebody else, you know, vying for that spot. So I invited both of those people on there, council member Star Henson and Denisha Ramsey, who's running for that seat as well, to come in and provide a little information about themselves. Unfortunately, Star will not be able to attend today. So we will have Denisha and hopefully Star can get something out, you know, but I was hoping we could have both of them on here, one after the other, so we could have so you can get to know both of them a little bit more and you can make a more informed decision. So a couple of announcements I want to mention. We mentioned it at council this week, I guess it is, because it is still October, that there will be Halloween, folks. I've already started getting my decorations ready for this year. I found some really cool stuff. We'll see what happens. The only person that can stop Halloween in Arkansas is the governor. The mayor can't do anything about it. And honestly, I wouldn't anyway, because you're going to be wearing masks and you're going to be socially distancing. You're going to do what you need as you trick or treat. So just when you go out there, be careful, do all the safety precautions though. Remember, it will be dark. So be sure to have a little light. What I used to do with my kids, you know, we had the little plastic pumpkin buckets or whatnot. I used to get one of those glow sticks and break it and drop it in the bucket, and it kind of glowed and you can see what was in the bucket, and it kind of made the bucket glow so you could see the kids walking around in the dark. So just be careful with that. Wear some reflective gear or something if you need to. Just watch out, especially people driving, watch out for the little kiddos on that. And we'll talk about that more as the month goes on, because, you know, people tend to forget in 31 days or 28 days, I guess it is now. I will want to mention the fact that Bryan, Arkansas did win last night. I believe it was their 22nd win in a row. So they've not lost a game in quite a while, which is pretty awesome. I did find out that next week's game with Central is canceled because Central can't play. They've had some issues with COVID, and so they had to cancel the game for Bryan. But Bryan's looking for another team to play. So if you're listening and you have a football team you want to take on the Bryan Hornets, reach out to the school and see what we can do. It should be good either way. I also understand that homecoming was supposed to be this week, you know, this coming up week for the school, and they've had to postpone that as well because of, you know, the football game not being there. So anyway, to get on to more fun and exciting things will be one of the most exciting things we have going on today is Ashley Clancy is getting sworn in today as the new city attorney by Judge Stephanie Cassidy. And let me stick those in here. So hopefully they are here. I just saw Ashley's pop up, and there's Judge Cassidy, and there's Ashley's phone. Let me try to change the view just a little bit. There we go. The Clancy's are sideways, but that's okay. It makes it more interesting that way.
Good looking group.
Yeah, you gotta love technology, huh, Judge?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it looks like Ashley has her entire family there. I'm gonna turn my head sideways so I can see everybody.
Oh,
So it's gonna be cool. It's all right, you know. Hey, you get sworn in right up.
There we go. Look at that. There you are.
Man, the miracles of modern technology. All of a sudden, they're right side up. It is so cool.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, I am going to mute my mic while this is happening because this is pretty exciting for the city of Bryan. We have a new city attorney because Josh Farmer is moving on to being a circuit judge. So this is kind of exciting for us. So I'm going to mute my mic while y'all do this swearing in. How does that sound?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
All right. So without further,
Okay, Ashley, it's an honor for me to swear you in. Welcome to your new position in the city of Bryant. We're all excited about it. So you got your Bible there. So if you would just raise your right hand for me and then repeat after me. I, Ashley Clancy,
I, Ashley Clancy,
do swear that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America
do swear that I will withhold the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Arkansas,
and the Constitution of the State of Arkansas,
and that I will faithfully, discharge the duties of the position of City Attorney for Bryant, upon which I'm about to enter. Okay, Ashley, you're official. Congratulations. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Look forward to working with you, Ashley.
oh, we all everybody in the city looks forward to working with Ashley, even though she actually has been working for a couple of weeks now. So she's done a really good job for us already in some capacity and transitioning with Josh. So excuse me a little bit. It's good to see and I was going to explain just a little bit why we did it this way is so Ashley with her and so everybody wouldn't have to wear a mask because
Yes.
I mean, look at them. They're such a cute family. So
Exactly. Exactly. Good looking group there.
and they're doing a great job representing Bryant with the blue today. So, you know,
Absolutely.
Yes.
of course, it does help that Mr. Clancy is one of the coaches with the football team. So
Hey, she's the important one, not me.
well, I agree, but you know, everybody's important in their own way, either sport or not. So it's all good. You know, I know that. All right, Cash is deciding to get excited, is he?
Yes, he
Good
is.
for him.
He's excited to be on camera.
Good for him. Well, it's exciting to see him. I need to go visit with him someday. So anyway, with that, I guess that concludes everything, and y'all are welcome to stay on and watch or zip over to YouTube and watch, however y'all want to do this. I've got
We'll
a
let
couple
you
of
have your spotlight back.
Yeah.
yeah,
Mayor, we'll watch on YouTube.
yeah, I don't mind me, I would too. So
Thank you, Mayor. Have a great day, everyone.
thank you, and y'all have a wonderful day as well. It's a beautiful day to be out and about. So
Absolutely. Goodbye.
right. Bye. See y'all later.
Boy.
All right, so now, as they get all logged out and stuff, we'll go on and we're going to go ahead and migrate over to the city council position. It's Ward 2, position 2 is that we're talking about. And I'm going to admit, excuse me, I have a tickle this morning. Denisha Ramsey, could be from yelling too much at the football game last night. I may or may not have yelled at a ref or two. I'm just saying. So hopefully she's trying to get in with one phone or another. So we'll see what happens here. See if I can get her in here. So are you on, Denisha? I can't see you or hear you. There she is. There she is. Can you see me?
I can. Can you see me?
Yeah, we got you. We got you on. We're good. So
Okay.
Can't see you or hear you. There she is.
you may have to mute that second part of that. Just I know I always have to.
I just did.
It's really weird when I'm talking, then all of a sudden I hear something I said, you know, a few seconds ago because we have this lag from Zoom to YouTube. It's
Okay.
really disconcerting for me on that. But welcome, Denisha Ramsey. Excuse me. You're going for position 2, Ward 2, running against the incumbent Star Henson. who unfortunately, as I said earlier, is not able to be with us today. She had some other obligations that she couldn't get out of apparently. So, and that's fine. This is just a voluntary thing for everybody. I was hoping to get both of y'all on so more people can maybe meet both of y'all and get a better informed decision for them to make. But that is quite all right. We'll just continue on and see what we can do. So as you know, I sent a couple of questions to y'all, and hopefully we may have some from, I need to adjust my screen just a little bit here, and I have to pull it up just to do that. So there we go. That'll be better. And then I can close that and give me a little more space. I do have a feed going. If anybody makes a comment or has a question for you, I will ask those as well.
Okay.
Remember, YouTube watchers, that there is a lag. So we're probably a little further along than when you ask a question. So as soon as you come up with a question, feel free to throw it out there. And I'll interject. But I did send Ms. Ramsey a couple of questions earlier so we're going to start with those, and I figured that might precipitate some other questions, but we'll just see what happens. The beautiful thing about Coffee with the Mayor is it's kind of informal, and you know, I'm all good with that because it's Saturday morning and I got to bed a little late. So anyway, Denisha, tell us a little bit about, let me start over. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first, I want to say thank you for allowing me to have this platform to introduce myself to those that I have not met. But my name is Denisha Ramsey, and I'm running for Bryan City Council for Ward 2, Position 2. A few facts about me. I'm married to my best decision, Mr. Christopher Ramsey. I have 3 amazing children, and I've lived in Bryan for nearly 17 years. A little bit about my professional background. I'm a certified clinical laboratory scientist and program analyst by profession. I'm a parent guide. I support children and families who are deaf and hard of hearing with other special needs. I'm also a real estate agent and investor. I'm an involved community member who decided to run for Bryan City Council. Going to Bryan 101, which is hopefully those of you that's listening have heard the mayor talk about that. That's a 8-week program that helped introduce the city government and how we function to the residents of Bryan. And going through that, I felt compelled to, run and be able to serve my residents in Ward 2. I believe my background and my experience can be brought to the table in an effort to help move Bryan forward. Being forward focused. Being forward focused. Let's see how many times I can mess it up. It allows me to bring different factors of who make up who we are here. And it helps me to bring in and introduce diversity, inclusion, being an advocate for the people here, and then also just being transparent. So that's one of the motives of why I decided to run for this position.
Well, that's good, and I appreciate that. I like that forward focus, but what I really like about that is the fact that you said you married your best decision was Chris Ramsey.
Yes.
He's a pretty cool guy. There's no doubt about it. And
he
oh,
decided
look, there he is right there. How you doing, Chris? He's a pretty cool guy, and that's cool.
Well, thank you.
Because honestly, I think my best decision married me as well. So it worked out real good for both of us. It looks
yes,
like.
yes.
You said you were I think you advocated for deaf people and hard of hearing people. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Why you do that?
I do that because my son is deaf, hard of hearing. Some may know my son. His name is my oldest son. I have 2 actually. Kelton Ramsey. He recently graduated from Bryan High School. He was one of the first males on the Bryan dance team. The news station did a segment on him, but he's deaf, hard of hearing. He can hear with devices. He has 2 cochlear implants. And so advocating for families with special needs is dear to my heart. I've been doing it since day one, just making sure that people are informed of what's important to them, we go, we try to assist them, and we give them support. We don't make decisions for them. We just here as a parent resource.
I got you. Yeah, that makes sense. I think me and my wife have probably done that a little bit because, you know, of course, my stepdaughter, Abigail, she's special needs as well.
Mhm.
So, I mean, honestly, the special needs community to get through the regulations and the problems that you have getting the services you need, you
Yes,
need an army to do,
yes.
unfortunately. That's pretty neat though. I will say this about Kelton. He is
Mhm.
a phenomenal dancer. I mean, I remember
Yes.
seeing him on the dance team multiple times. He does a great job.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome and thank you. That's pretty cool. So the next question I have with that is, what do you believe are the 3 greatest strengths of Bryant?
That's a good question. You know, I believe the 3 greatest strengths of Bryan is the same as my 3 values that I'm running on, which is diversity, advocacy, and transparency. Um, for those who have lived here in Bryan or those who have moved here within the last 10 years, we have seen Bryan grow in population, demographics, and economically. Diversity is one of the strengths of Bryan because we embrace different factors who make up who we are. We have different age populations here. We have built state-of-the-art high schools, but to accommodate those children or those teenagers that have moved here with their families. We have attracted different family demographics as far as single parents, and even those that have retired that have moved down here. So that being diverse helps us to be a successful city. So that's one of the strengths that I believe that is important to Bryan. Also, I believe in advocacy, like we just spoke about, speaking to the residents, bringing their ideas and concerns to the table in regards to their property, issues that matter to them. That helps us become great city leaders. Recently, I've had the opportunity to meet with several department heads and city employees here, and they explain to me what's priority to them. And they are also advocating not only for their employees, but for the residents who have those concerns. So I think that's a great strength as well. Being on this campaign journey, just what we're doing here, having coffee with the mayor. This is one way that our city is being transparent with our residents. We have our agendas for our meetings and minutes available for those who are tech savvy to go out and look. That's one way of being transparent. And then just also being able to speak to the residents, you know, makes us transparent. And I think that's, again, the 3 strengths that I'm running on. And I believe that's what makes us strong in Bryan.
Cool. Thank you very much. And I agree with you on all that, you know, because I mean, we are becoming more diverse as a community, and I think that's a wonderful thing. And one of the things when I ran for mayor was transparency and open communications with the people. So that's one of the reasons when I became mayor, I started this coffee with the mayor every month. It's not as good right now, I don't think, because in the past I could go out and we had a group of people that would show up and we could interact with those. Unfortunately, with COVID and everything, we're not able to do it quite like that. But we felt here in the city, or at least I felt here in the city, that it was important to continue this on, even through this, because, and now that we have the YouTube channel, we can actually save it forever, and people can go back and say, hey, look, you said this in the past, but what's happened to that? And I appreciate that. It helps hold everybody accountable for things. So what do you believe to be the top concerns for Bryan?
Well, several concerns have been brought to my attention, being on this campaign journey, such as, you know, sidewalks in certain areas, wanting curbside recycling, and of course, you know, open burning. It's been some concerns talking to people in my community. But I believe the top concerns for Bryan residents, again, for me, is one, COVID-19. is, you know, we're having to deal with that. Flooding concerns, the safety of the Highway 5 and Bryan Parkway intersection. You know, those I believe are the top concerns right now. But I can say, you know, the good news is that, you know, we've been discussing this in our city council meetings. You know, Bryan is doing things to help improve those safety that we put in different things in place, safety measures in that area that we can do, as well as, bring it again to the attention of RDOT, who is also part of that intersection. With the flooding, just meeting with the directors of for our city, I've seen different action plans that is not going unnoticed, that they are prioritizing and working on that as well. But I believe those are the top concerns: COVID, the flooding, and the safety of that intersection.
Yeah, flooding has definitely been a concern in the city of Bryan for many years. And, since about 2017, the city's put forth a big effort. And of course, last year I put forth a larger effort towards that.
Mhm.
I took $1 million, an extra $1 million we had, and put it towards some projects. So we're finally realizing some results from a lot of that, which is great. But there's still some issues, and we still need to work through those issues as the years go on, or as we can. So I
Right.
appreciate to keep bringing that up and stuff. And
Exactly.
you're absolutely right with Highway 5 and Parkway. It is a major issue. We're working with Arkansas Department of Transportation to try to resolve that issue as quickly and
Mhm.
efficiently and as economically as we can. So
Exactly.
yeah, it can be a challenge dealing with other governmental entities. I promise. I have learned that from being mayor for a couple of years now. So that's kind of wild. So so you kind of answered my last question too, or my next question, which what you felt was the most pressing issue, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of adjusted to COVID-19. We're wearing our masks, we're getting out, we're going back to work, we're washing our hands, sanitizing our hands, and we're, practicing social distancing. So we are learning to adapt to what, we are finding is our new normal. So, even though that's a concern, I didn't rank that as my highest. And
Sure.
of course, with RDOT, just like when we mentioned when we had the special council meeting, not RDOT, but with that intersection, RDOT is aware. We've looked at, our income and our budget on what we can do to make change as far as what we are responsible for, which is Bryan Parkway. But RDOT is aware, and I think that we'll continue to bring those concerns up to hopefully move them forward in helping getting that project done.
Oh,
But the flooding, I really just talking to the neighbors is important. We do have a lot of stormwater projects. The ones that are complete, are online. But again, like I stated, I've seen the action plans. I've seen how they have prioritized those neighborhoods that are affected in that area. And I don't know if you spoke about it, but one of the measures that's going to be on the ballot, if we continue that forward, which I think is measure number 1, that will help fund those projects. It also will help improve our streets, our drainage, which will also help with flooding. So that to me is one of the top priorities that I feel like, we need to keep having attention to.
Yeah, and I agree with you. There are other intersections, of course, that we're looking at as well that will have some problems, and unfortunately, that's going to be a continuing problem in the city of Bryan as Bryan continues to grow. And we
Yes.
have to reach each of those issues. The reason I brought that up is somebody asked a question: are there any plans to have a signaled intersection at Highway 5 at the Heart Hospital? Well, actually, at Highway 5 in the Heart Hospital, there's a signal at Spring Hill, but at the actual entrance to the Heart Hospital, there are no plans, because that is just for this question, that is our Highway 5 is a state highway, and they mandate you cannot have a signal any closer than a half mile. They can only be a half mile apart.
Oh, okay.
Lights can't be any closer than that. That's an RDOT regulation, rule, guideline, whatever, but they will not put a light in. That's why there's a couple of other intersections we would love to have lights on some state highways, but we're just not allowed to by RDOT. So,
Okay.
but Parkway, we're working on that light.
Mhm.
We are looking at some design improvements for that intersection at Spring Hill and Spring Hill Overpass and that area in the Heart Hospital area. However, that's actually will be an RDOT project, because all that, that basically that access road and the bridge and all that's right away is RDOT property. It's kind of crazy when we start talking about roads and all this other stuff, but that's what's wild. it's a road in our town, but we can't really do certain things on it because we don't really own the road.
Right.
Anyway.
But they are aware and they're watching just like we are too.
Oh,
So that's,
absolutely they
yeah.
are. And hopefully some of them are watching this Coffee with the Mayor,
Yeah.
which is always nice, because I know we do have some RDOT employees that live in the city. I've met a couple of them, and they're real
Okay.
nice folks, you know, and they're doing their job the best they can. We're doing our job the best we can. And
Exactly.
you know, if everybody continues to do that, we'll get the best job done that we can. So
Exactly.
on that. Next thing I have, it says often council members only hear from residents who are opposed to a proposed measure or project. We
Mhm.
rarely hear from residents that are in support. Do you have any thoughts on how to balance this? I mean, this
One was a great question, and I pondered and I grappled with it. And so some of the points that I thought about was, again, one of the things that compelled me to run was Bryant 101. So I thought about maybe partnering with our Bryant Public Schools to maybe implement a format of that to the students, and that way it could be disseminated through the children to the parents. Because we always ask our kids how was school, what happened, things of that nature. I know we're in COVID, but that's one thing I thought about. Having town hall meetings outside the building, going to the people, because that's what, city government is about. It's about the people. So going outside the walls of City Hall, maybe having a town hall, at a certain area where we maybe just invite them to come to that. Recruiting interns, I know that interns, I've been an intern before, it's kind of free labor, but we can use them to do public works, public relations, maybe marketing to try to tell people what we're doing. So try to use that as a marketing, but also they're learning, city government on their end too. It's getting buy-in with the people, public relations. And, another thing I thought about, Mayor, was fundraising projects with the Chamber of Commerce or the community, where we highlight city workers and highlight the citizens of doing positive things, positive experiences. Because, when we know that we're going to be, our pictures taken, what we're going to do, we're going to share it. We're going to tell people about it. We're going to post it. And those are positive things that we can get our community to talk about. It's human nature to not think about things when they're going good. For example, we're breathing, our lungs are working, right?
Right. Thank goodness.
They're not, everything's good. But the minute we have a hiccup or we can't catch our breath, what we doing? We call 911, we making a doctor's appointment, we're gonna fix it. It needs to be fixed right now. And so it's human nature to think about things that's important to them that we need to fix right now versus what's going good. Right. So I think we could highlight that and bring it to the people. I think that will start bringing in conversations, positive conversations about the good things that our city workers are doing and the citizens here in Bryan are doing.
Yeah, that's good. I appreciate that. To touch on your town hall meeting thing, that's kind of the way, honestly, we used to have coffee with the mayor before COVID, because I would go to the different wards and, I'd kind of rotate from the different wards and try to be in each ward a different month to maybe get people from that area, because somebody might not want to drive all the way across town to listen to whatever the mayor's saying.
Right.
But if I was near their neighborhood, then they were more willing to come by, and then I could hear their thoughts and ideas and their complaints as well. So
exactly,
that's good. And we probably need to figure out some ways to do more of that as well. Partnering with the schools, I thought it's a pretty cool idea as well. I've talked about that because when I've talked to some of the teachers at school, of course, as you know well, that I was a teacher before I became mayor.
Yes.
That honestly, they learn civics in 9th grade is when they get civics class. But in that civics class, they learn nothing about local municipal government. It's always like state and mostly federal related stuff, which, that's good.
Right.
But people don't realize a lot of times, I think, that they can have the greatest impact in their environment with local politics and local
Exactly.
and local interactions with local government. So
And if we bring it to the school, we can put it on a child's level to make it exciting.
sure.
We've been here a while, so we've done different activities with fire department where kids would go into the fire truck or they give them little trinkets to bring home, and it sparks conversations, with the parents. So I think that's a good way to help continue to bring up the positive things that we're doing. Like I said, I was inspired by Bryant 101. It helped me look at things from a different perspective. And I think that if we continue to show that, we will start seeing a lot of more positive things being supported here.
Right. And I can't agree more with that. And thank you for bringing those up. I really just have one more question.
Okay.
Probably have two more questions, but one's going to be, it's going to be a free form type question. And I'm going to save it for last because
Okay.
why not? The
Why
next
not?
question is, what do you feel is the most crucial part of being on the city council?
Well, I think making sure that council is making good decisions for the people. So how do we do that? Staying engaged to the people, for instance, me meeting the directors, find out what's important to them, staying connected, talking, engaging them. I look at it as just not once I get in position, not campaigning, but people, in order to be a successful councilwoman, I gotta go, the people gotta know who I am. So, being out there, being present, still just keeping them engaged, I think is critical. I've met people in my ward where I've knocked on their doors and we're strangers. And then before I left, I made a new relationship. So I think that to me is a critical part of being, with city council. Now, I know I probably won't meet all 4,000, in my ward.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know, but I can tell you that, I will do the best I can,
Absolutely.
continuing, finding when I learn something, bringing it back to the people. That's one thing I've tried to do with my social media page is when I learn something new, I bring it to the people. So I think that's more critical. It helps me find out their views, what's concerned with them, and then it also will help me be a better council person.
And one of the things that you're talking about, that reaching out to the people and stuff like that, I honestly think that not even council needs to do that as well. But of course, I try to do that as well. But I think neighbors need to do that with their neighbors these days, because so often in neighborhoods, you really don't know your neighbor that well. And,
Right.
It's always nice to go out and say, hey, how you doing? And, just visit and say hi and be nice to each other.
Yeah, I'm one that likes to bring flowers. I just had a new neighbor here recently move right next door to me. And I think it's always, that's just one thing that I do. And I brought them flowers, just welcome into the neighborhood. We've had several new families move out here. I hadn't met them all, but when I meet them, I tell them who I am. I welcome them to the neighborhood and just, have a pretty smile. I think that what welcomes them, let them feel welcome. I think the more people feel welcome and invited, the more they'll get out and do things.
Oh, I agree 100%. Of course, as you know, I live in Ward 2 as well, and I live in a place called Midtown that kind of floundered for a while, and we've done some things recently. We've been able to do some things as a city, working through an agreement through some court action that we're able to get that going. But the nice thing about me being in Midtown right now is actually in what I call Midtown proper, there's only about 12 or 15 houses there. And it's that small town neighborhood feel, honestly. And you know everybody, and the way it's set up, you basically know what people are doing and you watch out for each other, and it's kind of nice that way. So
that's what we do here. We watch out for each other. We check on each other. My neighbor got a code to my garage. We are family. We're family. We watch out, we protect each other, and we support each other. And that's one thing I love about Bryan, because that's what Bryan is about. I know I'm speaking of my neighborhood, but that's what I look at Bryan. I've been here for a while and I'm just speaking on my experience, and it's been good.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the nice things about that as well is by watching out for each other and your neighbor with regard to that, it also helps lower some of the incidents of crime. you know,
Yes.
areas, because you can always remind your neighbor to, hey, make sure your car is locked at 9 o'clock so somebody doesn't come around and try the door and say, oh, look, let's see what's in there. And
Right, exactly.
because, you know, that seems to be a recurring issue, and this is not really a part of the question anyway, but
Mhm.
I think it's important to bring this up. That seems to be a recurring issue we have in the city with people having their cars broken into.
Yes.
But honestly, 95 to 99% of those cars are cars where somebody forgot to lock their car.
We've been a victim of that. And,
Yeah.
you know, I try to tell my family, my husband, my kids to lock the doors. And we try our best, but, you know, sometimes we get on autopilot and we forget. And, you know,
Yeah.
we just happen to be one of those who had our, you know, car, you know, vandalized. The good news is we didn't have anything in there to really take, but it's just the point. But I can tell you, our neighbors alerted them. Bryant PD was out here, and
Yeah.
I do believe that they took care of that issue. So,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it wasn't someone from our area just for that particular, you know, people, they see how good we are here in Bryant, you
And so
know?
often it's not. These criminals are just taking opportunity, and they
Yeah.
come to Bryan and they go around and trying doors. If the door's open, they're going to go through your stuff and see if there's anything of value.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, at times, people have a habit, a tendency in some areas of leaving a gun in their car because, you know, we are a concealed carry state and
Yes.
people are allowed to carry guns around. And then what happens is that gun gets stolen by somebody, and then they sell that gun to somebody else, and it can potentially be used in a crime or something. So
Right, and then be registered to you who didn't do the crime. So
right.
yes, I know that.
But of
Yeah.
course, you get it reported stolen, and then they take that action, but still it just perpetuates some issues. So if everybody locks their doors, it makes
Mhm.
things better. So anyway, thank you for that. Now, my next question is not on the list, but it's something that I think is really important for me to ask you and that is there anything else you want to say?
You know, the only thing I can think of to say is, again, thank you. I humbly ask for the support of Bryan, and I humbly ask for the support of Ward 2. To think of me, I'm gonna be the first one on the ballot when it comes to Bryan City Council for Ward 2, Position 2. And so I'm just asking for you all support. I know that I will do a good job. I'm a quick learner. I'll go in definitely thinking about those 3 words that is on our Constitution: we are the people. So that is what, you know, my focus will be. It will be the people.
Well, I appreciate that. And so it sounds like to me, since you're saying you're the first person on the ballot for Ward 2, sounds like you won that magical drawing for the first position, first name on the ballot, which is kind of cool. But
I did.
I can't.
This has been a great experience. The journey has, I never would have imagined everything that goes into campaigning. So my hat goes off to anyone who is bold enough to get out here and do it. But I have a good team. I'm definitely following and being obedient to my Father above. And so I'm just enjoying the journey.
Well, I appreciate it. And again, thank you for coming on. In case somebody has on and wondering if Star's here or not, unfortunately, she was not able to be with us today. I just wanted to bring that up again. Again, thank you for coming on. You're welcome to stay and watch, or honestly, you'd be probably better off to go to YouTube and watch it, because then you don't have to worry about muting mics or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm going to continue on for a little bit longer, and we're going to talk about some of the issues on the ballot. There used to be 6 issues, but now there's only 3 because some
Okay.
court things happen. So it's kind of cool. So thank you for being on here, Denisha,
Thank you.
and we'll see you around, I promise, because
Thank
I'm
you.
always running by your house in the neighborhood when I'm running. So it's all good.
I'll be back out there after November 3rd.
All right, then. I understand. Take care.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye. All right, folks. Now, like I said, I was wanting to talk about some of the ballot issues because it is the election issue. But before I talk about that, what I really want to talk about is the actual election itself. You may or may not realize this, but early voting starts on October 19th. That is 16 days away, not very long at all. And that early voting continues on until November 2nd. So, and the places you can vote are as follows. You can vote at the Benton Vote Center, which is next to the square in Benton. You can vote at Bank OZK. You can bank at New Life Church on Highway 5, and you can bank, or not bank, you can vote at East Union. Sorry, Bank OZK got me thinking about banks. So you can vote at East Union as well. For all of those, the voting is Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. For the Vote Center, it's 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. And for Bank OZK, New Life Church, East Union, it's Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And on Fridays, all locations are open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The last day to have early voting will be November 2nd. And the only place that you can do that on that day is the Benton Vote Center from the normal time. I think it's 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on that. I don't know exactly. But the following day, November 3rd, is election day itself. And the voting polls will be open from 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. So be sure and vote. With COVID, I would probably myself, I'm going to try to go early just because maybe there'll be smaller crowds, or I'll just gauge it by that. But please be sure and get out and vote. It's very important to exercise that right. If you're not registered, I think the deadline for that is actually, it's right here. It's October 5th is the deadline to register. So if you have not voted, or if you're not registered to vote and you still need to register to vote, you have Monday is the last day to do that. So make sure if you need to do that, go do that so you can vote in this election. It's very important. There's federal election, there's state level election, and there's of course the local municipal election. For Bryant, the biggest impact will be in Ward 2 because there's a competition for that seat. There will be a couple of new council members on council already, but they are actually running unopposed. So they'll be on the ballot in the group of unopposed names and like that. So they're basically automatically going to be on council now. So got that part. It's really important to vote. It is your right as a citizen. So feel free to do that. I do it all the time, or at least when you can during election day. So, and I've done it. The first thing I did when I turned 18 that day was go register to vote. And I've been a registered voter ever since, wherever I was at. So it's kind of fun. Now, I will say this, now to talk about some of the issues. On the ballot, there were initially 6 issues. 3 of those have been taken off. And those were issues 4, 5, and 6. And one of them was about redistricting. Issue 5 was some primary election, general election relationship things. I don't know why some of these were taken off, but that's okay. It just and another one is about eye doctors. So, which, giving some people a right to do some surgery or not. But issues 1, 2, and 3 are already there. Issue 1 is probably the issue that's on the ballot that has the greatest impact for the city of Bryant. That is the issue where you have a continuation of a 1/2-cent sales tax for state and local highways. And that's been in place for a while. The current 1/2-cent tax that goes to that is set to expire in 2024. And what the state is trying to do is make that a permanent tax to continue on, basically to continue that, so RDOT will continue to be funded adequately. I was at a meeting with the commissioner or the director of RDOT, Ms. Tudor, the other day, and she discussed the fact that if this 1/2-cent sales tax were not passed, there were certain things that would not be able to be done in Arkansas to maintain the roads, or to get that level of coverage right now that we have with this tax. It would take about a 15 to 20% increase in fuel cost. So I don't know about you, but I really don't want to have to pay increase in fuel. I don't mind a half-cent spread out over the time. It's not a huge impact to my budget because I'm already doing that right now. So, so one of that things. Now, I will also say this with regard to issue 1. Let me find it right here. If issue 1 does not pass, RDOT has already told the city of Bryant that we can expect a reduction in our street fund because we get what's called state turnback money. So part of that half-cent tax comes back to Bryant that we use on our streets. And that will be an impact of about $389,000 for the city of Bryant. Overall, it's over $1 million worth of impact to the county, including Benton and Benton and Haskell and Traskwood and all the places and unincorporated county. It's a huge impact for the roads for us as well as statewide. Let me look at my notes just a little bit, so we'll lose that. In addition, what they did say also, and this relates to a Highway 5 and Parkway intersection that we're working with them to get a light on. It's in the process of design and right now by RDOT, but they have told me that if this issue doesn't pass, that they're going to have to go back and relook at that and see exactly how they'll be able to fund that, because they're having to fund that because it's their road. So with all due respect, I would really love it if you go out there and say yes to that issue so we can continue on doing what we need to do for the citizens here and elsewhere, because I don't know about y'all, but I don't like potholes any more than anybody else. Now, issue number 2 doesn't have as great of an impact on us, but it's about term limits, and it changes the term limits on the state level. It eliminates lifetime term, and I'm going to read a couple of things here because I think it's important for you all to know this. It eliminates lifetime term limits for state legislators. It prohibits future legislators from serving more than 12 years in a row. So if they've served 12 years, then they have to step out, and then they can, after 4 years of being out of government, they can go back and rerun. But that's it. Term limits are a touchy topic for a lot of people. I don't necessarily think that somebody should be in government for 20 or 30 years, but I think you need some time there partly it takes a little bit of time to learn your job. I know it took me a little bit of time to learn the job of mayor when I came in. Luckily, I had good department heads that helped me through that process. But it takes a little bit of time to learn that job. And as you go on through that job, you gain what I would call corporate knowledge about that process and about things that are going on and historical context to what is happening. So it's kind of important to have some time, some experienced people on there to continue that knowledge base. So I don't know, honestly, I couldn't tell you if there's term limits right now for state legislators or not. But, that's what issue 2 is. Vote to your heart's content on the way you feel on that, and that's fine. The third issue on the ballot is changing Arkansas citizen initiative process. And it deals with how votes are required to get something on the ballot. It's an interesting process to get items on the ballot these days. You have to gather a certain number of signatures. And those people that are gathering the signatures for issues have to go through certain processes like background checks and stuff like that and pass those checks. So it adjusts some of that. So feel free to look and review that. There is a site, not the state of Arkansas, but the University of Arkansas Division of Agricultural Research and Extension has a document online that looks like this. And if you look for it, you can find it, and we may be able to pop the URL in the comment section of our YouTube once we get this thing over with. And that will take you to that spot, and you can look at this document online, copy it, whatever, and it has all 6 issues on there. The nice thing about it is it gives you great detail about this, and it gives you nonpartisan information. So it's not slanted Republican or Democratic or anything else. It just tells you the information. It tells you why people are for it, and it tells you why people are against it. So it's kind of good. So that is really nice. So, and somebody, Andrea goes, ballot issue voter guides are also available at the Saline County Extension Office for more information. So that's good. And I see Justin Palmer, he goes, issue 1 is for a state highway, continuation of a state highway tax that's existing. Then that should be a state tax, not local. You're right, it's not local. It is a state tax. We're not, the local city of Bryan is not doing anything with tax increases. We have not done anything, and we don't plan on it. We're fine with what we got. So those are the main 3 issues that are on there. So it's not, as Justin said, it's not a continuation of local tax. It's a continuation of a state tax. And if I misspoke, I apologize. I think that's about all for the issues. Again, the most impactful for Bryant is actually issue 1, which is that state level tax, but we do get money from it. So with that, if there's, I haven't seen any questions about it, but feel free. It's really important as a citizen, a voting citizen, to be informed on the issues on there, because there's nothing I hate worse than being able to go there and not remembering what those issues are about. So the nice thing about this booklet as well is it does have an actual ballot issues worksheet in there. So as you decide how you want to vote on it, you can mark it down on here and mark some information on it. And then you can take this with you, or a list like this with you, into vote, so you can remember exactly how you want to vote for that issue. So it couldn't be much easier. Voting is an awesome thing to do. And honestly, I think that's all I can think of for now. Have I missed something, Dana? She's over here.
I think so. I've been trying to take notes. Do you want to cover anything more about the yard waste?
Oh, yes. Thank you for that. Yeah. As you may or may not have heard, recently, and I say recently, at the last council meeting we had, we passed a modification to the burn ordinance. And but what really we want to emphasize with that is the city of Bryant has a yard waste program now. It's been in effect for about a year now, I guess. And what's really cool about this is all you have to do is take your yard waste, if it's grass clippings or leaves or something like that. There's bags at Lowe's. I think the Farmer Supply has them. I think Home Depot has them. Walmart may have them, may not. I don't know about that, but I've seen them at Lowe's for sure in the city of Bryan. And you take those clippings and stuff, put them in these paper bags, and you set it by your curb. Or if you cut some branches out of a tree, you take them, excuse me, and you set it by your curb. And then you get on the city website and click what's called Report a Concern, and you select Yard Waste Program, and you schedule that pickup. And they come every Tuesday and pick up yard waste across the city. We have a crew that does that, and it's absolutely free. So it's kind of nice. I've used it several times myself, and my neighbors have used it. It's a good program. And what's nice about that is, I know we're getting into burn season. In fact, it actually started October 1st is what I like to call burn season, according to burn ordinance. With the old ordinance, you could burn for 3 months, October, November, and December. The modifications to the ordinance weren't very large modifications, but it did allow you, it did cut it to November and December. So if you have yard waste in that time, it's better to do report a concern and let us pick it up and take care of it and dispose of it for you than it is for you to have a fire and everybody smoke it out. There's also some modifications to the burning on weekends. You'll only be allowed to burn 2 weekends a month. But again, the yard waste is free. Yard waste pickup is free, and it's a great program. I do know there have been times when they've had so many calls. I think they get every week, they get about 30 to 90 calls right now. And if we get more and we need more and we need more pickup, then the city will do that. That's what we'll do. If they happen to miss a spot or they don't get done on one day, they will go back and pick that stuff up as well. So it's something that's really important to do.
And also JP touched on how much it's impacted their call outs on fires.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Dana pointed out the fact that the police chief has said that this is really, I'm sorry, fire chief, man, it's one of them days. I guess I stayed up too late last night because my son came in from college as well. So it's been one of the, fire chief Jordan has said that it has actually reduced the number of calls that they have to respond to with grass fires or yard fires that get out of control and they have to go put out. Somebody has asked, when will the Bryant Parkway tax be reduced? Well, there's no Bryant Parkway tax, so I have no clue. So there's no tax with that. So anyway, moving on to anything else. I can't think of anything else except to emphasize it for the yard waste program. You go on to report a concern and you fill that information out. I will also say this with reporting concern, you can get on there and if you see an issue with a road or you see a water leak or something like that, or you see a street light out, you can go on report a concern and report that. And what that program does, that report of concern does, is it creates what's called a ticket. Which is really a work order. It says, hey, this needs to be taken care of. So for streetlights, what that allows us to do is have a record of which streetlights there's a problem with if it's out. And then we can notify Entergy or First Electric of those issues, and we can kind of track it better that way. I know I get periodic calls or emails saying, hey, we have a streetlight out on this street or this corner, or I've had calls and email saying, hey, I have a street light out at my house and that's not working, but then they don't tell me where their house is. So there's no way I can put that in, because what I usually wind up doing with that is putting it in as report of concern. So it would save a step if you actually do that yourself and we have that record. And then if that time frame passes and it's still not fixed, do it again, put another report of concern in so we can push that back to Entergy or First Electric for streetlights and get them on there. Understand when they have outages, major outages for storms and stuff like that, they take all their employees and they're winding up helping other people get electricity back, and that slows some of this process down. So I will ask a little patience, but if it's been a couple of months, feel free to report that light again so we can go back and re-emphasize to the energy companies, like I say, First Electric and Entergy, that we still have this issue and we need it fixed. So, it just helps us with tracking and helps everybody else. So with that, I can't think of anything to do else to talk about. Again, trick-or-treating's on, decorate your houses, turn your lights on if you want a trick-or-treater. If you don't, make sure your light's out. And hide, like I know some people do. I know some people say, oh, I don't like kids. we're gonna go out to eat that night. But I'll be home, I'm sure. I don't have any kids that go trick-or-treating. So I'm designing this little candy chute that I'm gonna drop the candy down and it's gonna go down to people at the end of the porch. So it should be fun to do. I'm looking forward to it this year just to see what kind of fun I can have. And you may see a skeleton or two. So
I don't see any more questions.
with that, I haven't seen any more questions come up since the last one about the non-existent Bryant Parkway tax. So without further ado, I'm going to say thank you very much for tuning in, those of you who have. And if you haven't, then watch us on replay, and feel free to, those of you who have watched, if you found this informative, to reach out to your neighbors and say, hey, you really need to watch this. And hopefully once the COVID settles down, et cetera, we can actually get this thing out live again. Because honestly, I'd rather do it that way than sit here and talk to a computer. It's just not as fun talking to a computer as it is talking to other people. I'm not going to fib about that. Somebody responded, Energy isn't responding to my request for not receiving bills for 6 months. Unfortunately, that's an issue. You're going to have to reach out to Entergy again, maybe make a couple of phone calls. I don't know with regard to that. Unfortunately, we don't control the energy around here. If we did, I'm just going to say it'd probably be better. But I'm just saying that kind of jokingly. So if you work for Entergy or First Electric, just take that as a joke. Okay. So with that, I can't think of another thing to say except for y'all have a great October. I will see you out and about. If you're trick or treating, if you happen to be in my neighborhood, feel free to knock on my door and we will see what we can do about getting you a little bit of candy or something. So without further ado, I'm going to say have a great October. And if I don't see you before then, happy Halloween and go Hornets. Talk to y'all later. Bye.